Reading is a marvelous activity. There is hardly anything I enjoy more than reading, except perhaps writing. But there is no point in reading if you are not able to locate take home messages in the book that you read. If you read a book and remember nothing after reading it, I think it would be better not to read it at all. Today we shall try to find out how we can remember what we read. Please don't underestimate the activity of reading. It is a demanding activity. It is also an important activity. Reading the right book can impact you, your personal development, your life in a remarkable manner. To read a book when you are physically exhausted and mentally innervated is pointless. The first condition is that you should ensure that your mind and your body are in the right form when you start reading the book. Read the book when you're fresh in mind and body. Reading a book is very much like starting a romantic relationship. And what is a romantic relationship without passion? Love your book. Love every page of your book. Love every word of your book. Don't just read. Read with passion. And as in the case of a romantic relationship, you will be richly rewarded. There is the old saying, Rome was not built in a day. In fact, nothing can be built in a day. Everything requires time. You cannot expect to master the Brahma Sutra Bhashya of Shankara or the Republic of Plato in half an hour. You have to give the book sufficient time. At the same time, every book that you read is fixed in a particular context. For example, you might be trying to master a book as part of an academic program. This means that you cannot allot an infinite time span for the process of mastering the book. You have to find out the appropriate time span. You have to allot the appropriate time span for mastering each book. At the end of the day, your book is the key ideas in the book. Focus on the key points. Try to absorb them using visual images. Most of us have better memories for faces, for example, than for names. This is because our visual memories are often stronger than our verbal memories. Try to absorb the key points in your book using a process of visualization. Also, try to establish linkages connecting the key points with one another. Every book is bound to have some knotty patches. Don't get bogged down in them. Don't insist on understanding every line that you read, every word that you read. What is important is the overall picture. If you insist on understanding a page completely before moving to the next page, you probably may never ever complete reading the book. You can attack the knotty patches when you reread the book. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. I always read a book with a pen in my hand and underline whatever I feel needs to be underlined. But today you have highlighters which perhaps do the same job more efficiently. There were no highlighters when I started my reading life as a schoolboy, at least not in the small town in which I grew up. Either you underline or you highlight. The point is that your reading has to be highly interactive, highly engaged. It has to be a process of complete involvement. Don't be reluctant to use bookmarks. Bookmarks facilitate the easy identification of areas when you return to the book for your later readings. Personally, I prefer post-it bookmarks, which can be stuck on the pages you want to identify. I have always believed that books have margins for marginalia. Be liberal when it comes to creating marginalia. Your marginalia may be explanations, comments, comparisons, contrasts, expressions of disagreement, diagrams, anything. The greater the marginalia you contribute to a book, the greater your involvement in the reading process of the book. This is a very important step. Take down notes. You can use a notebook or you can use cards, but you have to take down notes. Being an old fogey, I use a notebook, but I think some readers believe that cards are better. Be that as it may, preparing notes is an essential part of the reading process. Often, a book may not be mastered completely through a single reading. In that case, you will have to revisit the book repeatedly. This is almost always true of great books like the Bhashya of Shankara and the Republic of Plato, which I mentioned at the beginning of the discussion. It is only through repeated readings that a great book becomes part of your psychological, intellectual, and spiritual self.